our favorite hosts.
Blaze and Boris.
Yeah, those two guys.
Happy Boris Day, Blaze.
Blaze, how do you feel about Fullmetal Alchemist?
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Fullmetal Alchemist?
Yes.
Blaze hates it because Blaze hates anime, and this is definitely not his favorite show.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, can I talk to Blaze? Blaze?
Blaze.
He's not talking. Okay, Boris.
Okay, Google.
Neither one of us
Call
gonna do an
Blaze
impression of Blaze or
Fryer.
Boris. I was hoping y'all would tag on this. Oh my god, you're just calling him? That might be better than an impression. Okay. Hey, Blaze. Yeah, Blaze, this is Jacob. How do you feel about Fullmetal Alchemist?
You mean the one with the best anime? Brotherhood?
You heard it here first. Blaze hates Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yeah,
Thank
he
you.
absolutely hates it.
Thank you. Thanks for your hate.
Hi, my name is Jacob Betts, and I don't watch very much anime.
Hi, my name's Kane, and I like to, I like to prank my friends on the phone every now and again.
My name's Kenneth. I watch a lot of Gundam. That's a thing.
And today, we're talking about Fullmetal Alchemist.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Brotherhood.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Today we got episodes 13 through 16. We're going to start here on episode 13, Beasts of Dublith.
Blaze is calling me back.
Oh shit, is he actually calling?
Yeah.
But let's see this one through. I want to know where this goes.
Blaze, how you feel about Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood?
I'm gonna go on record here saying it's the best anime I've ever seen.
Well, it's not Death Note, but whatever. Not season 2, people. You alright, buddy?
Yeah, sorry. I was just choking on what you guys said earlier.
Oh.
Hey, Blaze.
what's
Also,
your address?
I want you to know you are actually on record right now.
You're on the podcast, man. Welcome.
Thank you.
do you have any opinions on Fullmetal Alchemist?
That you'd like to give.
No
without,
spoilers.
Without spoiling
We're at
anything.
episode 16.
13.
Okay.
16 is what we watched. So.
It's the best anime.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have a nuanced opinion?
Yeah, do you want to
Do you have,
explain a little bit?
You have
You're on the fucking Blaze, you're on the podcast.
You're letting the audience down.
For Christ's sake.
Why are you doing this, Blaze?
Now will you actually show up on the podcast?
I
No
know.
one's gonna
You
accept
got scared, bro.
So, are we calling Boris now, or is that a stage too far?
This is a stage too far. We're not on that level.
Nah, I'm
Boris.
just a bit like. Well, we'll see you some other time.
He didn't come to Olive Garden, so.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, he only came to some of them.
Yeah.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
On this episode, Beasts of Dublith, Izumi expels Ed and Al, so now they can talk to her like peers. But Al is captured by Greed and a group of Chimera. And that's actually pretty much all I got for the summary.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
So what happens in this episode? So, fun fact, I have a note right here that says, I'm a homunculus.
That sounds like
And
a
that's-
Raffi song.
That's the whole note. So-
homunculus, short.
I don't know if when I wrote this, I was implying that me as Kane
Boris tattoo.
is a homunculus, or no, I think it's a quote. I think it was a quote.
It is. He just said that.
Is this the first time he says the words homunculus?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's why I wrote it
You
down.
mean tiny perfect human? I literally looked up what it is.
Yeah, because that's what it actually is.
Perfect human.
Because
He's got a sick ass Ouroboros tattoo on his hand.
my understanding is it's a like what we used to think fetuses came from, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I heard
So we used to think that fetuses were just like tiny people that got bigger, and we called it a homunculus.
Oh, that's
Because we
interesting.
used to be dumb.
Yeah.
Well, dumber than we are now.
Yeah.
When of course in reality fetuses are a whole conglomeration of cells, and they sort of form together to create something humanoid until
Well,
they
we
become-
thought the sun went around us.
Yeah. God, we are so stupid.
Nothing fucking happens in this episode.
Not yet.
Well, we find out that
fighting, and that's about
we
it.
need to record more of these podcasts late because this one's turning out
So
perfect.
extra spicy.
Okay, so some of the quotes, I wrote a lot of quotes for this episode because I like Greed. I don't know
Yeah.
if I've made that apparent. Greed is one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character from this series.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of good quotes in this episode because they're just kind of like truth bombs. And literally, Ed and Al are like, we want to fight you. Although everything he's like saying is like kind of actually makes a little bit of sense.
Mhm.
Like he's like, the name's Greed, and I want to be your friend. And they, like, don't have any reason to not believe that off the top, other than, you know, the Ouroboros tattoo itself. But he's like, I haven't seen them in, like, a fucking long time.
Yeah, because he hasn't seen them in 100 years.
Right. And when they're like, oh, those are chimeras, that's impossible. He's like, look at what you're looking at right now.
Yeah.
Nothing's impossible.
Ow!
Like
Look in the mirror.
He's literally just saying truth bombs. One of the things is, I want everything. I've got friends all over. I'm the embodiment of greed. One of his biggest lines is, you can't believe everything the government tells you. Mm. It's like, are you a little on the nose with that one? A little on the nose with, your government is bad. You are working through the wrong people. Come hang out with the coolest guy you know. Greed. TM.
Something I wrote down for this episode is, how many pairs of gloves does Ed have?
Yeah.
Does he?
Because he does whatever he does, the auto mail knife thing, he just rips through a glove. And then
does he
I hadn't even
need
noticed
more
that,
than
but you're right.
Yeah, and then you know what else happens? And then when they shift the shot, then the glove from his left hand is just gone.
Do you think he takes his glove off?
I think he takes the glove off of his left hand after he's ruined the one on his right hand.
So how many
He's
right
like, I'm gonna
gloves
save my left hand. Yeah, right.
Yeah, because it looks like he ripped this one, and then when the camera cut away, he said,
make a new glove out of any cloth that he finds.
That's true. He could just remake the very glove he just ripped.
Oh, that's true.
Like at this,
but then
that's not as fun as him just having 1,000 backup right gloves.
Well, he probably does though. Like
something that is as fun is him after the battle looking for his glove. Like, I know I lost it in the start. Where did we start the fight?
I wrote another quote. This one's from Ed, and it's probably one of my favorite lines of this episode. Never really crossed my mind that you could get kidnapped.
Yeah.
Because he's a 7-foot piece of armor
that could kick just about anybody's ass.
But he ended up getting kidnapped partially because Martel ends up getting inside him and working in like a suit of armor.
What a cool character.
Which brings back our theory of how strong is he?
I'm not really sure.
He seems to be
he has
strong
no
enough.
muscles, but he can't overpower her, but she's a chimera.
But then he then kind of does overpower her later on.
Yeah, well, they say that he actually can overpower her and that she can't stop him this way, but she can slow him down.
And also, because he's 7 feet tall, she doesn't actually fit in the suit.
No.
Yeah. So she's not filling it up.
I don't know. She's part snake. Maybe she can fucking grow her arms or some shit.
They literally show
snakes.
her arm grow their arms.
Snakes do grow their arms.
Yeah, they literally show her arm just going in there and being way smaller, and she just controls it. It's like, alright.
I'm a chimera. I'm part Trogdor.
Yeah, it's like, alright.
Like, I don't give a fuck, man. You can tell me that, like, an ox could, like, he can bulldoze through houses, like, just with his hand. Like, I'd be like, oh, he's got ox blood. That means he can propel wind force. I don't know. It's fucking Fullmetal Alchemist.
I just thought it was interesting based off, we already had a discussion of what is his strength, what is his embodiment, how is he living.
It's a good point. It's a good point. So, yeah, what the hell, does Izumi show up at the end of this episode, or does she not show up until the next episode?
Next episode, I think.
Let's see. I don't have it in my summary anywhere that she shows up.
Yeah, I don't think she does.
At the end of this one.
This episode is literally like, oh man, they're at the Devil's Nest.
And then at the beginning of the next one, it's like, and Izumi's here. I feel like the episode ends on her saying, "Who am I, a housewife?" Though. Or is that just the cut to commercial in?
I think that's the cut to the commercial. Because the next episode is like, because he ends. I wrote the last line that I wrote here. It says, he reveals that his ultimate shield can cover his whole body.
Yes.
And that's the end of the episode, I think, where you get to see the scary face. He's like, oh, it obscures my pretty face. I would never want to do this, but you're like, kind of hard to fight right now.
Well, let's go on to episode 14, which actually is the beginning of part 2. So, yeah.
How conveniently she finds the Devil's Nest. Oh my god.
The guy who throws her
the guy.
What is that? Is that like a... It looks like a brick.
It looks like probably a box of matches.
In the original...
Right.
Yeah, in the original, it's clearly a box of matches. In this one, I didn't know what it was until I watched the original, and then I was like, oh, it's a box of matches.
But it's just like, wow, you guys.
He's like, hey, I found this. Would you like to go there?
You guys were just like, we're not doing this shit.
He's like,
We're not doing this.
We're
We're not
almost
doing
to
the
the part.
search montage. Let's just keep it moving, which I appreciate. Like, let's just.
So in Those Who Lurk Underground, episode 14,
Mm-hmm.
we first learn that Bradley is a homunculi, and that he is...
Episode 14. They get that real
Yeah, they get there real fast. We also learn that he's Wrath. We learn that Sloth is off just doing stuff. Pride is currently unidentified. And
I wonder who he is.
this is also Mustang's first day after his transfer to Central.
Yeah,
That's what this episode
Which I wrote down.
Start-
Central doesn't believe in Mustang.
No.
Because everybody's in the background, like,
Yeah.
murmuring things. You could hear stuff like, how did he get here so quick and so young, and he doesn't belong here. You could hear all this muttering
Right.
about
Mutter,
him.
mutter. I think more than that, it's also the Mustang can't trust anyone. Mustang's the only one who's here with a mission.
Yeah.
Everybody else is here just living the high life, or they're a part of some fucked up government shit that's going on that Mustang knows about.
Yeah, and then he brings his whole squad.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I need a team that I can depend on to do things, and the word not get out, or just people that I can just trust.
Can I go back a little bit? Because I want to talk a little bit about cinematic language.
Okay.
I think this is sort of interesting. When Mustang is walking through and you have all of the figures muttering about him, they're clearly actually saying that, and they actually don't believe in him.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that that's worth juxtaposing to a very similar scene in Into the Spider-Verse, where Miles Morales just gets his powers and is walking through past after the nurse's office, and everybody's muttering about him. But in that one, you can tell that they aren't actually doing it, and it's his brain sort of just being
Projecting.
Right, he's projecting because he's insecure.
And they're very similar scenes. And I think it is fascinating how well both of these two different media communicate that.
Yeah.
And I think it's literally just because as Mustang is walking, he's so confident, so you know it can't be coming from somewhere.
Yeah, from his,
Yeah, and I think that's such a fascinating thing just about cinematic language, is that it's in the Korean character and how they walk. And that is communicating whether what is happening is real or not.
Yeah, because he's walking through like there's not even anybody there.
Yeah.
Like, he's just walking down the hallway.
You want to know who found the Devil's Nest faster than Izumi? King Bradley. Why was he there, other than like his immediate goal to pretty much capture Greed? Do we get any sort of like note that he knew about the place?
I think
or
so, because he's on.
Did anybody call
He's
the
on
military?
He's on a bullshit mission to check the South.
Yeah, well, he clearly knows where they are, who he's killing. He's told his soldiers to eliminate all of the Chimera. Right? We had that sweet fight with the ox guy, or the cow guy, fighting...
I wrote his name down.
Armstrong.
Roa.
Yeah, Roa.
I'm
Fighting
sure
Armstrong,
he
and
knows.
then Armstrong's like, when they fight, he's like, Armstrong's like, oh, you were somebody who was part of the war. Why don't you just surrender? He's like, because if I surrender, they'll kill me right here.
Oh, yeah.
And Armstrong, like, is kind of like taken aback, like,
Yeah.
what? And then he starts to notice all these people getting just shot and murdered.
But I'm sure he knows because we've continued to show how sharp he is. Like when they were gathering all this information, he just knew. Whether that may be just him knowing from just being part of the bad guys.
Right,
And the way that they say that he's on a mission, he's not even on a mission, he's just checking up on the South randomly. And nobody, like, oh, he's probably just walking through the office and checking up on people.
Right, well, he's clearly not doing it on accident. That's the thing. I'm like, did we get an instigator for him knowing? Not that we needed to, because it's just plot that he's there, but...
We haven't seen anything that
Was
told
there
us.
anything from, like, Father being like, I want you to go get Greed for me, or, like,
No.
anything like
I
that?
think so.
I think it's just, you're supposed to assume on his...
That he just knew...
And his
He just knew Greed was there, and he knew that he was going there to do that. Which
Yeah,
I
he
buy, I just was curious if I missed something.
Yeah,
No, I think he just
remember-
figured it out off camera.
Okay.
I think it's really cool how Martel has been nothing but antagonistic to Al the entire time. She's literally inside him when King Bradley attacks. And at this moment, Al is going out of his way to make sure that she is okay, and he does not want her hurt. because he's just a good person. Even though she has been nothing but antagonistic to him, he still puts her life above his own. Yeah.
However, being given that he knows how powerful King Bradley is, I mean, this is him being naive in this moment. Is he doing her a service by forcing her to stay inside instead of helping fight? Do you think, I mean, it's obviously from a kind place, but do you think that is, if you were there, not as a 12-year-old boy, but if you were there, would you let her fight with her friends and die? Or would you, knowing who King Bradley is, Alphonse knows how powerful King Bradley is. I think he just doesn't, he's just a 12-year-old kid. But if you were there, would you feel like it was more of a disservice to her, keeping her caged up and not able to help?
If it were me, literally me, with my personality and my experience, and me knowing King Bradley, I would let her fight.
Yeah.
Specifically because that's just what she wanted to do. And I am pretty much always of the opinion that if somebody wants to do something, you kind of just you can't stop. Who am I to stop them?
Yeah.
Because she knows how powerful he is too.
Yeah, they all do. They
all
know,
do.
They all immediately, like I said with Greed in the last episode, they all know.
Yeah.
They're all way aware of everything that's going on with the military. They're all way aware of, you hear it from Ro when he's talking to Armstrong, like, I was part of the war, and then they did this to me, and now we're on the run, basically.
And when the two of them show up, they basically see Bradley, and they're like, well, we're fucked.
Yeah. Which is one of the reasons why I'm totally down to let her go, because she knows that this is a suicide mission. It is a different question if she did not know exactly how powerful he is.
Right.
That's sort of a different scenario.
And
but she knows.
They all clearly
know.
They all clearly know. He's like, the dog guy's like, I'm just, I can't believe we have to do this right now. Even Greed's like, clearly upset by it happening.
Well, like in the dub, he says it may just be my canine or dog sense of loyalty.
Yeah. And I want to talk about how scary the line, "Can I help you at all?" is.
Yeah.
When King Bradley is just like straight up
walking.
Yeah, he's just walking straight to him after he's been through this
Hi,
big
Al.
fight. He's like, "Hi, Al," and he puts on that kind face he's always putting on. And he goes, "Oh, hi, Al. Can I help you at all?"
We get another beautiful moment of it when he's talking to Izumi, when she's in the bed.
Yes.
And you see his almost like a weird sense of caring for her. Like, I really would like you to be a part of the military.
Yeah.
Because I know you're powerful and like I respect you.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes back, his eyes closed. But you actually get to see his blue eyes for a second or his one blue eye, right?
Yeah.
His eye for a second when he's looking at her. And he's like, please?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I think I've written down for the third straight podcast is nice but sharp.
Yeah.
He plays the extreme on both sides. Like, cause shirt off with the Under Armour carrying 5 swords, Bradley.
Right.
It's a wrap. It's
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because King Bradley, right, we've established that he's now one of the homunculus, but he's the only homunculus that can grow old.
Yeah.
He's the only homunculus that was...
Well, because, and we know that he's not a homunculus, really.
Well, he is. He is. I mean, but he was created for the purpose of a plan by whatever the plan is.
Yeah, as far as
they
As far
say...
as we know, they show in his history he's a human.
Well, right. Well, they say specifically that he's a homunculus that can age.
Yeah, unless something happens later in the series, right now all they're saying is he's a homunculus and it's weird that he can age.
Yeah.
Well, because he was a human, it's like he's kind of a...
They haven't said that yet.
I don't know.
They made him.
He is a homunculus that can age, and he's meant for like some purpose, like some final. He's like one of the last parts of the plan, is what the father says.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that because he can age and he has had a timeline, right? He has this sort of malice towards the other homunculus and part of the group, and the fact that in this like weird ambition that he's the Fuhrer, he's the king. Like, he is at the top of he cares about his government.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting character for him. He's not, immortal like the rest of them.
Yeah.
He's going to die of age, assumedly, right? Or just be frail and old and sad.
He's Wolverine immortal.
Right.
Where, like, you can see that it's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, but he knows that, and I think he cares about the work and stuff he's done. It's almost like, I was gonna say, a few episodes ago, there's a nice moment where you can, like, at the funeral for Hughes, he, I don't think, wanted Hughes to be the one that died. That had, Hughes clearly wasn't good enough to be whatever. They're talking about sacrifices, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, he could be a sacrifice, you could be a sacrifice, Izumi could be a sacrifice, Mustang could be a sacrifice, everybody could be a sacrifice.
Well,
but
if you look
Hughes wasn't even considered as an option, and he was only killed to send a message.
Yeah. Well, if you were an evil dictator, would you want Hughes dead? I mean, he's a pretty loyal soldier. He doesn't really ruffle feathers.
He's high up the ranks. Like,
Yeah.
he looks upset in the funeral scene, and I don't think that was him playing the I'm evil. I think he was actually upset in that scene.
But
I think
why
that's
did
what makes
Hughes
the
die,
character.
though? Why did Hughes die?
To send a message. They explicitly say that he died to send a message.
They didn't know what he figured out.
Well, I mean, he found out too much or something, but about
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he had learned about the Philosopher's Stone, and they're like, oh shit,
this
before
can't
he
get-
starts
Hughes is
telling
a
anybody
good
else.
guy. He's gonna say something about this, I assume.
Yeah,
But they-
which would affect King Bradley.
Yeah, that's why
right.
he had
I
to
mean,
kill
they
him.
killed him because they had to. But in terms of other characters who are, they clearly know Mustang is investigating.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, in the next
Because we would have preferred... Because if you are King Bradley, you wouldn't want to kill off a loyal, respected soldier who, again, doesn't ruffle any feathers and basically just follows orders without question. But it sucks when it comes to that because he has to maintain his power because
literal
he's
power.
because he's evil.
Yeah,
He was
literally
killed
a bad dude.
more because he was a good person, not a good soldier. Because Mace
Yes.
being the good person is going, once he finds the information, he's going to ruffle feathers.
Right. We're just saying that we don't think King Bradley killed him because he wanted to kill him.
He killed him because he wanted to keep power. Because he wanted to keep his power.
He had to keep, like, quote.
He had to.
He had
as
to.
far
kill
as
him.
as far as his evil plan is
I
concerned.
don't think he was playing face at that funeral scene. I think he's actually mourning one of his soldiers, who he knows he killed, but had to kill. I don't think he's playing face there.
I don't think there's any motivation for that. They never show any connection between the two of them.
I think
even
there
as
is.
him cared as a soldier.
I think there is, in the sense of King Bradley as a character who has malice towards these other creatures that are apparently his equals. He does not respect them because they can naturally live forever. He has a sense of his own. He has a sense of his own mortality.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing things because he knows he has to. He's part of some big plan or whatever. But he gets. I think he's proud of his power.
Yeah. Well, for the record, I don't want to create a sympathetic version of King Bradley.
No, that's not what I'm saying
Yeah,
at
and I'm agreeing. I'm just sort of laying it out because I don't think that this is a sympathetic version of him so much as it is
A three-dimensional version.
Yeah, it's sort of saying, I know that I need to kill off some of my own men. Unfortunately, it had to be one of the ones that that generally would not cause any issues because this is the one scenario wherein he would have caused an issue.
Yeah. Otherwise, because Hughes did so much to make good. I mean, there's a reason why he was high up in the military. He was appointed there. He was close to Bradley. He was somebody that was respected. And in Bradley's case, I mean, it's almost in the same vein as we're talking about Greed, talking about his, like, friends as his objects. Like, he cares about them not in the way that you and I empathize.
Yeah, he actually says it because they're his objects.
Yes.
Yeah.
But am I being clear? Like, does that make sense?
I get what you mean. I just don't think so.
What do you think?
From the character of King Bradley, I think he was lying.
You think he's lying
when
he
he's
is.
being emotional at the funeral.
Well,
He's not. It's not.
Wait a second, though. I want to hear Kenneth's thoughts.
I don't think it's because he. And, like, this is one of my favorite characters that I've looked into. Maybe
Right.
it's just me being farther ahead in the story, having
Well, he's one of my
the whole
favorite
thing.
characters too. That's why
But-
this is interesting to me.
But he doesn't. He's like, not even that he's not a sympathetic character, but him as a person, he's not sympathetic to anything.
I'm not arguing that he's sympathetic. Are you saying that he doesn't feel sympathy for anything?
Yeah, like he doesn't care
Right.
about like losing Hughes.
I
don't
think he does care, but not because he's sad that Hughes is dead. He's sad that he lost Hughes as one of his pawns.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, sort of the same way Greed doesn't like the
But-
fact that
Exactly.
it's
That was the.
But
that was
Greed feels that way literally because he's Greed.
right. I think Bradley does because he cares about his ambition and his power.
And I think it's common among evil people in general to
Right.
view other people as pawns and stepping stones, and it's sort of not sad in the way that you lose a friend, but sad in the way that your car got stolen.
Yeah, exactly. Which and that's what I'm saying is the image to me doesn't feel like he's playing face, more as the way he mourns is not empathetic or sympathetic. It's he's mourning really, but in his own weird twisted way, and that to me is more interesting as a character.
Yeah, in fact, I'm actually hesitant to call it mourning.
Yeah.
It's just
not
sort of
the
like
same.
it's like an shit.
Yeah, like shit. Why'd you have to go and fucking do that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But I don't think there's like an emotional connection.
No, not an empathetic connection at all. I mean, but he does feel things. Is my point. He's wrath. He's the embodiment of passion and emotion, right?
Mm-hmm.
In sinful form. So I don't agree that he's just playing face the whole time, and like all his emotions are fake. I think he's feeling things. They're all twisted feelings.
I also want to draw attention to the very last scene of this episode, which is him talking with his family, and his son says, like, "Oh boy, I want to be helpful to you." And the last line of the episode, he says, "Well, maybe you will be helpful to me someday."
Yikes.
And that is such a terrifying fucking line to come from a man who views all of his connections as pawns in his game, because like, oh shit, how is his son going to be helpful? It's definitely not going to be good.
Yikes. Is all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fuck. Oh, I have a nice connection at the end of this episode between Envy and Ed. Greed calls Envy ugly.
He gets
Oh, yeah.
and he gets bullied.
Envy gets upset.
Yeah.
They get pissed. In the same vein that Ed gets pissed at being called short.
Yeah.
And I think that is such an interesting, for them being the sort of like, foils that I was talking about in a previous podcast episode. I think that was a nice little, like, yeah, that idea in my brain still holds true. When it's like, you're ugly. And
Yeah. Like I wrote down,
Well, because they're
Envy's
envious.
getting bullied.
Yeah.
Like Envy's with their, because we don't know if it's, but Envy's with their homies, and it's only Greed,
Yeah.
but nobody else is stepping between them to stop it.
yeah,
He's
let's
just
just Gluttony don't
getting
care
bullied,
at
yeah.
all.
Yeah. And
it's just
especially-
like he's getting treated like Ed when they go around people and everybody calls him short and stuff. It's like he's just getting bullied.
Also, does the father scene feel sort of like a fever dream in comparison to the rest of the show, or does it flow very, like, for somebody who's new to it, like, did it feel like it, like, oh yeah, this feels like the same show? Like, to me, like, the scene is totally, like, weirdly out of context and out of place.
It
But-
feels weird that there's a uber shadowy cabal, because this whole time I was like, okay, yeah, there's a shadowy cabal. And then we meet the shadowy cabal, and they're like, yes, but did you know the shadowier cabal
Yeah.
that runs... What the... What?
The guy who literally just drinks whatever he gets boiled.
Homunculi juice.
Yeah.
And it's not
Does it-
even
I
that
can't
he
even
drinks it. He doesn't even like drink it. He gulps it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, pours it from like full
You get
reach
that
away.
weird, like, this isn't a human being either. You know what I mean?
But I do like what you're saying, that they get on Envy's nerves by playing up their sense of envy. It's the same, I guess, well, it's not really that much of a spoiler alert for Shazam, but it's the same kind of thing that they do there, where
Yeah.
it's like, I'm feeling envy, so we're
Envy,
playing with envy.
yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, my first thought when that happened was, oh, I wonder if Ed is pride and he just doesn't know it because he feels the same kind of thing because
What?
it's like he's proud of how
If?
powerful he is.
What if?
Next episode.
It's because a lot of times, like, you make like observations and project out, and it's kind of hard for me and Kane to say something, but we know what happens.
Oh yeah.
So it's very hard to say like yes or no to anything.
Oh no, yeah.
I kind of
really
like
want
to just bait you into whatever you're feeling.
Yeah.
I like to just go roll with it and like go into the.
So whatever you say is like yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I prefer
think.
that because I want to be able to speculate.
Right. Oh, and it's awesome to go to those places because, you know.
I think that's a lot of times why when you like say things, me and Kane get kind of.
Excuse you.
Yeah.
That's not the story that's being told.
Yeah.
So actually, this is a good time. Let's move on to episode 15, the first episode with a new intro. Even though it's the second episode
Which
of...
sucks because I like the first one so much better.
Yeah, the first season has such a good intro.
Okay. The most important thing about this episode,
Yeah?
single most important thing by far, is Xiaomei, the panda.
Oh, Xiaomei the panda. I love that little panda.
It's first. It's the size of like your hand.
I would love a little
Xiaomei is the
panda.
Are you sure it's not the part where...
No, Xiaomei is the most
where
important
when we
thing that
wanted to
happened.
bake a pie? Because that was the most important part of the episode for me. I was in tears.
Was there a
this
tiny
time?
panda?
Which emotion are we going to be talking about? Are we gonna? Or is it the happy one or the sad
Well,
one?
my
'Cause they're
favorite
both
part
gonna be
about that
involved.
scene with the tiny panda is Scar's literally like reaching out, like I'm gonna murder this thing.
He's
He has
gonna
no
fuck
idea
that
what it
panda.
is, and he's like, "That's dangerous."
Yeah.
And his initial response is that, and then when she turns around, he's like, "Oh shit, what the fuck am I doing?
I'm gonna kill this
I
panda.
was about to kill this tiny panda bear that doesn't matter."
At
Like,
all.
that's just based off of initial, like I don't know how to be around people in general.
This is episode 15. It's called Envoy from the East. In this one, we meet Mei Chang.
Don't remember. I only remember Xiaomei.
But she's she's a little girl from the China allegory country called Xing.
It's also kind of weirdly Japanese with the ninjas.
Yeah, and they have the ninjas too because they also meet, or actually,
And like,
Mei Chang meets Scar, and then in the other plot line, Ed and Al meet
Ling Yao,
Ling Yao and
Fu,
his...
and Lan Fan,
Yes, and Fu and Lan Fan, his bodyguard ninjas.
which are like just straight up ninjas, and they've got the masks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feel a
Yeah,
little
it's-
more Japanese, but
They're very Japanese, but their names are Chinese.
Now,
well, also
Except for
yeah,
food.
and also with like the way they talk about like the emperor and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not quite.
yeah.
If it, I mean, it's meant to be generic on purpose so that we don't associate it specifically. I mean,
Yeah.
in the same vein as Ishval, in the same vein as, which I think is just clever.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
Asia
Yeah.
as a whole.
But in this one, we learn that Mei Shang had crossed the desert that separates Xing from Astraeus. Is that what it's called?
Amestrius.
Amestrius, thank you. For vaguely defined reasons that I assume we'll learn later.
What? Did they define it?
Yeah, they defined it.
Yeah.
About
She knows that alchemy can lead to living forever.
yeah.
Why does she want to be immortal? Do they say?
Well,
No, what's
Ling
his name?
Yao says why he
Yeah, yeah.
wants to be immortal.
I know his motivations. I was going to get to that.
Like, I mean, we don't know what May's history in terms of family are, but we know that that ideal is the same.
That she's there to become immortal. She's probably one of the other families.
One of the other clansmen, or wants to learn it for a clan. We don't know yet,
Yeah.
but like, I'm just saying that was like that's why they're there.
Oh, okay. I guess I just didn't remember that. I probably started... Because her motivation is similar to Ling Yao, I think I sort of molded those two plot lines and forgot that she had her own.
Yeah. You are right. We don't necessarily know why she wants to
Yeah,
become
we don't
immortal, but she does say
specifically.
it. She says it to Scar.
No, it's
And-
okay. We don't need to know why. It makes sense. She wants to become immortal.
I have written down, this is the first time that Scar has seen alchemy used for healing. So what he knows of alchemy, right, is just murdering of his people.
Yeah.
This is the first time, and you see it in his face when she heals his wound. It's very clearly the first time he's seen this kind of magic used for healing.
Yeah.
And he's like, Well, maybe what I'm doing is wrong.
Which
right?
do
You
they
get
not
this-
know Animestrians?
It doesn't sound like
No,
it.
it sounds like they
I
just
think
never touched on
I think
the
they
idea.
know that it exists, but they
Yeah, they've heard of
They
alchemistry,
never-
but they don't really know what it's used for.
the only healing is ever is Philosopher's Stone healing.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if that was one of those like. He does kind of go into how they're fighting on every border.
Yeah.
Every border they're fighting, so it doesn't surprise me that the government themselves is trying to keep all information out.
Yeah, well, and I wouldn't be surprised if socially they're conditioned to not worry about healing so much as fighting, just because
Exactly.
that's their lifestyle.
Which also tells you, why does this little, like, compared to the other countries, why does this little ass country have beef with everybody?
Why did Germany have beef with everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like something that's telling you about what's going on here.
Oh,
Right,
This
yeah.
little ass country has beef with everybody?
Yeah,
Like, they have to
literally-
worry about every border?
Literally, Link's like, this seems kind of intense.
Yeah.
And then on top of the building later in the episode, he's like, there's something wrong. Like, something does not feel right about this place. I don't know what it is yet, but I don't
Yeah.
quite like it here.
And then immigration gets them.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's true.
It's true. They,
Like,
do
they-
call him an illegal alien.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, and they
like, where's
pull
your
away.
papers? Where's your visa, basically?
Yeah.
But yeah,
And he's
they,
like, ooh.
But yeah, it turns out the Demestress is at war in literally every border, including an Austria-Hungary allegory, a like Czechoslovakian allegory, and a very clear Russian allegory.
Yep.
The drachma, where they have like they're separated by mountains and have a tentative non-aggression pact. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, so it's literally Russia.
Also in this episode, Hawkeye just like straight up runs into Barry the Chopper on
Yeah.
the street.
Yeah.
He's trying to kill her. He's trying to chop her up, but he doesn't know she's Hawkeye. And then she captures him and takes him for questioning with Mustang, where Mustang learns everything from one person. And that's Barry the Chopper.
From
have it
a
written-
chance encounter.
Yes.
written in my notes that Barry the Chopper just knows everything. He's the center of all information.
Mustang didn't know shit about this entire investigation at all.
Which is also, why does he know all these things? Like, I get that he was in the fifth laboratory and stuff, but, like, was he just eavesdropping on all the meetings and shit?
I think
Like,
so.
every
I
time
think-
they talked, he was just, yeah, okay, I got it.
Well, I think it's more of like the scientists talked in front of him.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I think it's a combination of him being a creeper
Yeah.
and them not really taking him very seriously as a
Because
person.
he's fucking Barry the Chopper.
He's
Yeah.
like, look, if I can't chop you guys, I'm at least gonna creep around and scare you guys from corners.
I mean, he literally
And
has the
listen to
line. He's like, "Could you please bring back Hawkeye for me to like talk to?" And they're like, no.
No.
Well,
Yeah.
in the dub, he says, bring her so I can cut her just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, just a little bit, man. Like, give
Jesus
me a break.
Christ. What a character.
Now, just for summarization's sake, I also want to say that Ling Yao wants to find immortality because he is one of many, many clans that all have an equal claim to the throne, and the current emperor is about to die. If he gets immortality, he's got a pretty solid claim to it.
He's from Game of Thrones. He's from Westeros.
Yeah. Though, my first question is does this happen during literally every transfer of power if they have this many clans? What a horrible system.
It's. I think that's the point. I think
It's
that's
like-
why he cares so much
Yeah.
about like finding immortality. So
It's
that
like one of these, however many kids the Emperor has, is going to be the next Emperor. And
Right.
we're just playing
And there's
Emperor
fighting out
Roulette.
every 80 years or so, we have a big fight.
yeah.
Which I'm like, why did they come up with like a tournament or something?
I
feel
don't know.
that's-
I think it's
I feel
interesting.
like it'd
I
be
want
an
to. I want a
Olympics.
spin-off series watching those like clan battles. Like, why does that happen the way it happens?
And what does it look like every time?
Like, is that a historical thing, or is that just like the fabrication of this current emperor?
Yeah, or has it just happened like once or twice and they're working on sorting it out?
Yeah.
And they never say like, so how is immortality going to get him to be the Emperor?
Well, he'd have a really solid claim because he
Because
could
he
say,
can't die.
yeah. So he could always say like, I can't die. Like, I'm pretty powerful.
I can just keep having children.
Yeah.
But then the children don't matter if he never dies.
I don't understand. I don't know. It's
That's
The
I just-
royal
I was
families
like-
always rule by how cool they look to the
Yeah,
people.
I was
It's just
thinking,
like-
is he just gonna try to outlive all the heirs?
yeah, maybe. And
Just
be
that's, that's pretty much all royal family
Yeah,
stuff.
like when
Right.
the one who's like right above him is like old and decrepit, he's still 23.
yeah, exactly.
He's just like,
The heir
just
to
waiting
the
for you to
throne.
keel over, buddy.
Yeah.
I got time.
I love Lan Fan and her relationship to Ling. Clearly she cares about him more than just like being his bodyguard.
Yeah.
And
she gets thrown off her game when
Yeah.
Ed just insults him lightly.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, lightly insults him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's dumb. Oh, wait, don't talk about it.
And I like that Ed notices that before he's like, he makes that connection and then he's like, oh. And then he's still surprised that she's like a girl who likes, like, for me it's just
well, it is still 19.
Well, and I think he was thinking about it strictly in fighting terms, and I don't think he has the emotional intelligence necessary to start putting things together.
Absolutely not. But she still warms my heart, man.
Yeah, she's so sweet.
She's not only a great fighter, clearly, is able to destroy Ed's arm. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, that would have killed me. And she's like, you fucking made fun of my boss. What'd you want me to do?
I act
I
like an adult.
love that fight. That fight between Ed and Lan Fan is beautiful. It is so grounded. It is so structured. They are showing very clear movement, so it's not... They don't do that thing that a lot of the fights do in both this and in a lot of other shows, where they sort of cheat it and just, like, make them look like they're fighting. They were all moving in very specific ways.
There was clear choreography.
There was clear choreography to it. I thought it was beautiful, and I loved it.
I feel very similar about the number, what's his name? The sword guy.
Number 66.
Number 66.
Yeah.
I felt very similar about that fight in general. I really like. We didn't mention this in the last couple of episodes that we were talking about. Alphonse, when Martel gets killed, her blood touches his seal, and then he remembers seeing the truth.
Yes.
And so now Alphonse
Which
is just as powerful as Edward.
And Ed feels so...
Which I wrote down,
insignificant.
like Al Gohan, to where it's like, once they mention that, oh, he lost his whole body, so he's much seeing more.
Right.
It's the whole, like, the little guy who has all the potential, who should end up being the stronger one, because I was like, oh, it's Gohan.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
now he has
Now he
exactly the same kind of powers as
He
Ed.
can transmute without a circle. Like,
Yeah.
he captures Fu, like, no
Which-
problem, while Ed's having, like, a hard time fighting Lan Fan.
Which
like,
he's got to go back to Central. Hey, where's my watch?
Yeah.
Where's my watch? Alchemy
Where's my
with no
watch?
circle. Where's my watch?
Also,
I need to check.
Panina in this episode just to shoot her cannon leg and then gone.
Gone.
Yeah,
she's
she's
gone.
gone.
She's just gone for the rest of the episode.
Also, she's running as fast as Al with like her hand in her pocket casually.
They also don't introduce Winry's teacher. He's just like there, and like
Just
they
fabulous.
mention his name
Yes, it is.
a few episodes ago when she's like, he's the guy that the what's his name, the older dude was telling
Dominic.
Dominic
Yeah.
was like, he's the guy down there that you can work with, and she says it once, and if you didn't like catch that,
Yeah.
you'd
Yeah.
be like, who's this guy in this scene?
I
It's
don't
just,
I
like,
don't remember
hanging
his
out.
name.
And now he's
I
just a
don't
super
either.
fabulous, very nice automail guy that
It's like-
just lets her
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah,
Is
he's
it
a
weird
go
that
ahead.
even though they don't say anything about him, I also feel like I know everything about
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
He's amazing.
Oh, I love him.
I love him so much.
And I love that he's just like, yeah, you can go on
cool.
vacation right now, even though you've only
Cool.
been working here for 1 month. Like,
Yeah.
no, you got it. You got it. Take
Go
it.
ahead, honey. You have to live your life.
Right, yeah.
God, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's great.
This
man.
automail shop will be here when you get back.
Right,
'Cause he
I'm
cares
not
about
going
her.
anywhere. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Oh my. Let's get on to episode 16. This is Footsteps of a Comrade in Arms. Now, in this one, we find out what we've already basically kind of known, but they double down on it. Mustang has been researching Hughes' death. He's been looking into finding out how it happened and why it was happened. And it's also the first time that that Ed and Al and Winry all come back to Central and find out that Hughes died. And I'm going to throw this over to Kane because you brought up the apple pie earlier.
I just looked at my notes, and there was just a note that just says "Daddy?" ? And I looked at it and I was like, what could that mean? And then I just remembered that I'm referring to the moment when Alicia opens the door for Winry when Winry comes back, and she asks Daddy,
How many
sees
times?
Winry, and then starts crying
Yeah.
and hugs her.
How many times does she do that?
Oh, she's what, 3 years old? So
every time there's somebody
she
at
opens
the
door.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sad. But she sees someone she can finally connect with and cry with. She probably doesn't cry to everybody. I think it's very specifically Winry that she actually walks and cries with.
Yeah, because she does have a previous connection with Winry. And they don't go too much into it, but we know it's there, and we know that Winry was there.
They
with
just,
them.
right off the bat, they rub it in. They're like, we're going to make you feel bad this episode. Right when Ed and Al show up, they're like, we're going to go to Central. We're going to go see how everything's going. The government, I don't know what the facility's called. I think they just call it Central.
they just call it Central.
Yeah. Whatever that building is, they're going to go check up with all the other state alchemists.
Yeah.
And as they're walking to go in and meet Hughes, probably is what they're thinking, they walk right by the telephone booth, right at the very start of the episode, and I was like...
And they keep the camera there.
Yeah, they're like, hey, just so you know, we're going to go there this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Which, for a second, I had forgot that they didn't know.
Yeah, because it's been a while. There's been a couple episodes.
Because you saw every other person deal with it.
Mm-hmm. And this is the first time we see them deal with it.
They mention it once when Armstrong can't do it, when Armstrong is in the South.
Yeah.
And sees them, and they're talking about... And Ed's like, there's some crazy shit happening. Why did King Bradley come and murder everybody? And Armstrong's like, watch yourself.
Yeah.
Because he knows, but he couldn't tell him.
And when Armstrong admits to Mustang that he couldn't do it, Mustang commends him and says that was a good call because they'll just end up blaming themselves. And then when they find out, Ed ends up blaming himself.
Which is true, but my favorite line is that when Hawkeye tells them that it's cruel that you didn't tell them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, when are they going to find out?
They're going to find out eventually, and they're going to blame themselves no matter what, but it's cruel that you didn't tell them.
Because you are selfishly putting that on someone else.
Yeah.
When you, as the leader, need to take the brunt of that. That's part of being a leader.
Mustang would have been the best person to play that blow.
Mm-hmm. In fact, actually, as somebody who predicted that they would blame themselves... That's all the more reason why it is on you, because you have to you're already ready for that reaction.
Yeah, you're already ready to teach them something in terms of dealing. Obviously, he blames himself for some not being there.
Yeah.
That's
why...
Well,
he was angry at him at the time, too, which is always the classic narrative thing of, I'm super angry at you, and then they die.
And now you're gone forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He literally tells him that Hughes went to a farm upstate, like he's a dog.
I love...
He just went to be with his other friends.
Yeah, he's running. He's happy. He's with other
fire
Hughes,
hydrants
other
everywhere.
friends.
He can pee all he wants. He's happy.
I love the conversation with Gracia. I love... My husband is dying trying to help somebody else. Got him into trouble. It's always like him. I don't think he had any regrets. Don't tell me you're going to give up.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would mean he died in vain. She says that to him, completely confident, completely strong. She's the only person here who you would even be like, it's a big deal that she is telling these kids this.
Yeah.
This should have been Mustang's words
Mm-hmm.
of guidance for Ed. Why does his wife have to say this? Because then we see when Ed leaves and outside the door, she starts bawling when the door's closed.
Yeah.
When she's not in their presence because she can't handle it. But she mustered up the courage to say those words to him when he was face to face and came and apologized.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that scene to me is so moving. That she was the one who could, out of all the people that you would give a pass to in that sense of somebody who was the closest to him, like, man, that scene just really gets me in general. I like Mace Hughes a lot as a character.
And it is nice that he, as a soldier, as a non-alchemist who was a soldier, he was probably going to die in battle somehow, especially because they've got another war on the horizon. They just got out of one.
They've got like another 4 on the horizon.
They've got like another 4 on different borders.
Shit's happening in their borders in Lior, right?
Yeah, it's very possible he would either die, maybe not even in battle because he doesn't really see battle, but being assassinated is not out of the question and hasn't been. So of all the ways he could have ended up being assassinated, he did it helping a friend, which is a very Maze Hughes way to go. That's not a half bad ending.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it needed to be a good one for him for this to be as impactful as it is. Another moment for me that's just really touching. This is one of the first times we see Ed going out of his way to comfort Winnie.
Yeah.
He goes to her doorstep when he was eating his sorrows away at a buffet.
Yeah.
Right? And then he goes, he's still brash and demanding about it, which is Ed, right, as a 16-year-old kid. Questionable, but at least we've seen that he cares. You need to eat something. You need to eat something. She's like, I know. And then he's like, he doesn't know what to say after that. He's about to walk away, and then she grabs him, brings him in, and they're able to mourn together for the first time.
Yeah.
Really about anything that wasn't their parents.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, this was another parent for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man. This is the apple pie scene I was mentioning. Like, this is the part that, like, when she's like, I know my cooking's not as good as Gracie is, but I was really hoping that Hughes would be able to try. I've been practicing while I was gone.
Well, because what the apple pie represents is I had these future plans, and now they can never come to fruition.
We had information we were going to give Hughes, and we were going to do this investigation together. That can never happen.
Yeah. And even something as simple as, I really liked your wife's apple pie, and I wanted to see if I could do it as good.
So fucking sad, man.
And then that's just not an option you have anymore.
Yeah.
And that's just how death often works.
Yep.
Because you always have future plans.
Man.
Because you never plan for somebody to be dead.
Mm-mm. On a lighter note.
Barry the Chopper's in this one again. He refers to the flirtatious soldier as, "Hey, it's the smoking guy."
Oh, Havoc.
And he's just living.
Havoc is my favorite.
He's just living in the most rundown hood ass.
Gene Havoc.
Like, he's just. It's like, where did they take him? Like,
oh, and the other guy, they're like, what is he? He's the
white haired.
He's the communications guy. I forget his name.
Commodore.
The other guy was there.
Yeah, he's been there
for like days.
We don't know how long he's been there.
Yeah.
He's literally like, when do I get somebody to cover my shift? And he's like, Mustang says, you're going to be on paid sick leave because you're going to stay here as long as it goddamn takes.
Yeah.
And if anybody finds out we know the information this figure knows, we're going to die like Hughes did.
Yeah. So our job is guard this uber powerful serial killer.
Except we find out that the homunculus all know what's going on and who everybody is doing.
Mm-hmm.
If they wanted to kill them, they would have already done it.
Yeah.
Which is why I made it like apparent that Hughes' death was a symbol. It was meant for something. It was meant to spark Ed and Al's journey. It wasn't just he found out too much.
Yeah. And
because these other characters who the homunculus all know, they know too much.
Yeah. And as a huge side effect of that is it's also really sparked Mustang to the point where Envy comes up with the idea to throw him off the trail by naming Lieutenant Ross as the primary suspect so that now he's distracted taking care of that.
Yeah. Because we don't know how he's going to feel about somebody being named the killer of Hughes.
And let's say that he exonerates her. This could happen to anyone who was working around Hughes at the time.
McCarthyism the shit out of this situation.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where the minute you get a scratch, so like when you get a hole in the levee, the flood's going to come in.
It is important though because there could be relative eyewitness reports of it being Lieutenant Ross because that is who Envy was.
Yeah, at the time. Or his wife.
Yeah, right. Which even crazier if they went that route, right? Like,
yeah.
That's.
My last note on this for this episode just says that Gene Havoc is dating Lust. Yikes.
Yeah, it's the very end. It turns out that Havoc's been dating Lust. They haven't explained why.
Well,
he just
I mean,
dates.
we know why.
He's dating Lust, but Lust just seems to be sort of trying to get information, but she even says that she hasn't really gotten much.
Yeah, other than, I mean, I guess they're trying to... Well, they're doing a really good job at keeping, like, the information that they have on the down low.
Mm-hmm.
But
and I think
they know that they're all part of the investigation, right?
And she's getting information in a very easy way.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't even have to work for the information.
Yeah.
She just change her costume and be her.
Yeah, well,
Do you
she's been
remember?
saying that he's really stupid. Like, that was her primary thing.
And,
Yeah.
what does she say? Tell me about your day.
Yeah.
With her notebook out. Tell me about your day. What is everything you did today?
Right.
Where did you go? Who did you talk to?
I mean, I'm not Gene Havoc, but, like, there's something inherently, like, about Lust's character, not just as, like, oh, she's Lust, but, like, inherently about her actual character, her three-dimensional character. She just is, like, completely calm and collected all the time, and not in, like, a weird, confident way that's, like, attractive, in, like, a weird, like, you know something kind of way. And to me, I mean, as somebody who's just, you know, naturally empathetic on, like, picking up vibes, that would bother the shit out of me, no matter how attractive that woman is. Like, knowing that, like, she's got this vibe of, like, I know something that you don't, would really fucking bother me.
Well, they did use the character that didn't want to transfer because he had a girlfriend.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, narratively it makes
And
sense.
then the next
Yeah.
episode, he has a girlfriend.
For me, I think I'd find that more attractive, but, like, I like danger.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm totally, like, getting murdered by Lust in a back alley.
I mean, if I'm gonna-
all the information.
If we're talking about
Legit,
types,
though, if there's a way to go, like...
Yeah, she's definitely getting all the information out of me.
if we're talking about types, man, I
I'm
think
going
I've made it
down.
clear that I'm more into, like, the bubbly, happy, not wanting to murder me types.
And I'm into the ones who might want to murder me.
Yeah.
I think this is why we've got... If you remember from How's That Pokemon, your fetish be mine... They do kind of play that.
Mine's the safer version of yours.
Just like from My Hero, I like the girl with the vine hair. With the thorny vine
Yo,
hair.
she's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
In a good way.
My last note
Yeah.
is one that's purely aesthetic.
Okay.
I hadn't noticed this before. Maybe they didn't do it before. Maybe it just showed up because this was a more somber episode, what with them grieving over Hughes.
Right.
Or maybe it's been there all the time and I just haven't noticed it. But the backgrounds in this show are all done with these heavy brush strokes like they're done with acrylics.
Yeah.
It really does create this sort of fascinating oil painting that they live in.
No, really, actually, I think in general they do that pretty well. I mean,
Especially in a lot of those, like, train scenes. Where they
yeah,
get
we haven't really
backgrounds.
talked about animation in general in any of these episodes or podcast episodes that we've done. This one is probably some of my favorite work in terms of... I think that's why it's so high up on my list. I think not only the art design of the characters themselves and, like, the way they look, but how smooth everything is in terms of animation.
Yeah.
I mean, you did mention the robots in the previous My Hero episode,
Yeah.
but I think I don't know. I think the animation does have a lot of impact of enjoying the show. I think that how not just aesthetic in terms of backgrounds and prettiness, but I think there's a clear style here. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, because when I watched the last episode of the regular series
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks ago, I was like, "Whoa, this is from the late '90s, early 2000s."
Right. I mean,
And
there's
it looks like a lot of other anime from that time. And
Right.
There's no real thing to just
like
to make it look different.
Well, I've been watching the original, and so far I really like the animation, though.
I like
No,
the
I'm not saying
animation,
I'm not saying it's a problem.
but the
Oh,
style.
it's
is
just it feels like that?
If you've watched a lot of anime from that time, it's like
it's all
those
similar
characters
looking.
could just show up in a different show,
Yeah.
and you would be like, "Yeah, they fit." Just from an anime.
This-
I wouldn't be
drops the-
surprised if a lot of that might have to do with the fact that animation in the mid to late 90s in America, and I'm sure it was in Japan too, was hand drawn
Yeah.
pretty much all the
Oh,
time.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah, so you
Yeah,
have
so-
to, you kind of have to have a very similar
Structure.
structure just just to have them be made.
Yeah.
When everything
There's
goes to
just-
digital, you can start getting a little riskier because there's.
Yeah, when
It's
you
easier to wipe
see
and
anime
change
like
stuff.
that, you understand it's from an era.
Right.
It's from a certain era,
But I'm not
which is
talk-
not a problem.
I'm not talking about the animation itself because I think it's very smooth in the original series.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But I'm talking about the actual style itself.
Yeah.
They make crazy different style, like probably because of the animation technique and being able to jump to digital. But the style is different, and I think I'm more inclined to, we have black outlines for the characters in the original series, whereas the outlines, they're the same outlines, the same drawing, but they're they're slightly just darker versions of the color that they are,
Yeah.
and it gives it like you're saying, sort of like more of a painting vibe than just let's say the comic book vibe, like off the page.
Yeah.
And I think that style choice is really attractive, in my eyes anyway.
Oh yeah. It's certainly very striking, and I noticed it more in this episode than I had before.
Well, there's a lot of shots that are still shots in this episode because of, the slower and the somberness.
That's true.
Whereas it's, like you were saying, some of the fights in the previous episodes, not the Lan Fun fight, or quick jumping back and forth between places, they're
Yeah.
showing a bunch of different jumps all the time, at different angles all the time, and there's a lot of movement all the time. This time it's not a lot of movement, and we actually get to see the art. The artwork, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, any final thoughts?
This episode was sad, and I can't wait to not be sad next episode.
Yeah, it was weird. There were a couple times we were crying just sort of like going over the synopsis.
Yeah, I mean,
didn't expect that.
There'll be more sadness.
well, I mean, the initial look at my notes, reading Daddy, and I was like, why did I write that? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my. Alright, so we're going to sit in this emotion for a little bit. But you guys, we will see you next week. We're going to be back with My Hero. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jacob Betts.
And I'm Kane Reynolds.
I'm Kenneth Rubiro.
See you guys.
Fullmetal Alchemist. I forgot to mention, yeah, it is different every single episode.
Oh yeah,
Because in the somber episode, he does it sad, and I noticed. He's like, Fullmetal Alchemist. And I noticed. If you want to add that, I didn't stop recording, so that's still available for you.
I kept recording too.
Okay, cool.